Okay, so I think now we're live. Hi everyone, this is Mon Macaro Language School. I'm Christina and I'm so happy to see you today because we have a special topic to cover. I know I say that we have a special topic every day, every time we go live. However, now and today it is really important. This week I think we posted in our community a couple of tips on how to sound more professional in business environment, some tips and some vocabulary, but we decided to give it a go and give you a full list and some practical knowledge and practical pieces of vocabulary that you can start using now and anytime that you have like maybe you're watching something or you're talking to your colleagues, so literally anywhere. And I really hope that this one is going to be useful. I think we can start. So let's put it simple. Today we're going to study business idioms. However, my first question to you is actually about work and job. And I have a question like how many of you clearly know the difference between job and work? So ask yourself whether you know it or not really, because I'm sure that most of you sometimes confuse them in speaking. So let me give you this tip. So when you're talking about job, you have an idea of some profession in mind. So for example, my job is teaching. So I'm a teacher, this is my job. And let's look at the examples as well. She's looking for a job as an antique dealer. So again, this is a job, a profession, or a particular position. Yeah? Another one is work. They are translated the same way. However, when we talk about work, we refer to some particular task or some special like movements and activities that we perform to do something. So let's say that we can take an example straight away. Why are you sitting here? Get up, we have some work to do. We cannot say we have some job to do because job is a position and work is some kind of activity that you do as part of this job. For example, my job is teaching, I'm a teacher, and my work is like talking to students, organizing lessons, carry out these online sessions, and so on. So this is my work. Also, there is one important thing. When you are going to the office or any other place where you work, you can actually say I go to work. We don't say I go to job. So I think these are the basics that we need for today, and now we can continue, and we will start with this one. First of all, it's really polite to ask about someone's job when you have an informal conversation, even with friends or maybe with new acquaintances. So it's good to ask other people about their work because actually it's like not only important, but it's also good to start to maintain this conversation. So you can do it differently. What do you do is also fine. It's some kind of regular way of asking about that. Another one, what do you do for a living? So when you ask this question, people understand that you're talking about their job, and they will tell you like, I'm a nurse, I'm an engineer, and so on. Yeah, what do you do for a living? Another one is to earn one's living. Yeah, I earn my living teaching people. That's the answer. Okay, another one, slightly more interesting. What line of work are you in? And here we can actually say like I'm a librarian, let's say. However, maybe it's better to answer and give the example of a field where you work, right? So it's not like I'm a teacher, but let's say it's education. What line of work are you in? Oh, it's education. I'm a teacher. Yeah, so you kind of give two answers here. Okay, let's continue. What has your career path been? It's more vague, I think. It involves, the answer involves more details. For example, you can mention how you started. Like, I used to be an IT professional and analyst, let's say, and now I'm a yoga instructor, right? So in brief, you're just telling about your career path and the more details you give, the better. Yeah, but not too much. Yeah, let's say it depends on the type of conversation and the person you're talking to, of course. Another one, what kind of job do you do? Also simple, also good if you're not sure what to ask. It's like a regular question. Yeah, here you can just say, I'm a teacher, I'm a student, yeah, maybe if you don't work, and so on. So yeah, keep them in mind when you meet new people, because asking about job is quite important. Yeah, we kind of express that we are interested in this person's life. Okay, and another one, when it comes to talking about your work, what you do, we use different prepositions, and it's really important to imagine this difference, to always keep it in mind, not to make the same mistakes. For example, many people say, I work in, let's say, I work in Mон Макарон. Well, it's not quite true. Because we have to put a different preposition here, and you have these examples. I work as plus your title, like the position that you occupy. I work as a tutor. I work as an engineer, and so on. Another one, if you want to use in, it implies that this is an industry. So it should be like the whole sphere where it comes from, where your position comes from. For example, I work in education. I'm a teacher, right? So in education, but at or for Mон Макарон, because this is the name of a company and we have to use at or for. Also, it can be like I work for Google, I work at Microsoft, and so on and so forth. So you see how important it is, and although it is translated the same way, but yeah, knowing these prepositions is a key, especially if you're talking to your potential boss, for example, if it is a job interview. Another one where we can use for is actually when we mention a person. Let's imagine that your dad has a business and you are an employee there. You can say that you work for your dad because you work in his company. Another one, and the last one here, to work on. So I know if you are like if your native language is Russian, you would say I work on my dad. But it's not quite true, because we say work on something, on a project, on a task, but for a person. Okay, so if you need this screenshot, don't hurry up to do that, because we will give you the presentation. We'll link the link below, and you will be able to click and download it. You will have all of these tips in handy. So don't worry, I think we can skip the next part. So how's your work? It's very basic. When you already know this person, you know that he or she is working there or there, and you actually want to ask, how are you? And also, if you were attentive enough, we had this thing in the last post, like let's start a conversation, especially with colleagues, with some casual question. And how's your work? Actually good. Yeah, it works actually very good because there are some witty answers, and you can actually intake a conversation like this. So how's your work? How have you been doing with your work? And other options as well. So if everything is good, if everything is excellent, you can say never been better. Yeah, so I completed this project, I took on this task and that one. So it depends on what you do. Better than I deserve, or also quite a witty answer, because here you actually say that it's so good, you can't believe it. Another one, I'm putting out fires, I'm working a lot, and this can be both positive or negative, because put out fires and work a lot is not everyone's thing, right? For somebody it's excellent, for somebody it is bad. If you cannot say that it is excellent or bad, let's say it is good, and you can say so far so good. You can actually say it anywhere, right? So how is your, for example, house hunting going? You can say so far so good. We have some options and we're looking for others as well. Another one is can't complain. Again, can be used anywhere. When people ask you, how are you? Also a good one. If it's not that good, if it is kind of bad, you can say I'm struggling. So people will understand that there is a heavy workload, or maybe you're snowed under work. So I'm struggling, maybe a bit, maybe a lot. I'm snowed under work. Yeah, so it literally comes from a word snow, and we imagine this piles of snow after a snowstorm or something, so you feel covered by it. So there's so much work to do. Overworked and underpaid, that's also a witty one, because when you overworked, obviously there's so much work to do, and underpaid is like you don't get enough money, you think you deserve more, but you're underpaid. So yeah, think about yourself. So how is your work? That is the question for you. I think it's high time to look in the comments. Do we have anybody here who's ready to express themselves? So how is your work? Can you answer this question? How's your work? Okay, anyway, if you're watching us after the live stream, you can also leave your comments, you can leave your messages down below, and that would be just fun to see how many people feel that never been better, they've never been better at work, and how many people are really struggling. So leave your comment, that would be good to know. Right, so another thing that we promised is this category of jobs. We call it collar jobs. Why is it collar? Because collar is this piece, I would say, a piece of shirt that workers usually wear, and it is said that depending on the color, you can understand what this person is doing. I'm sure that you met in books or in articles like white-collar worker or white-collar job in general. So these are basically people who work in the office. So since they work in the office, they wear these white shirts, and those have white collars, like management, lawyers, accountants, so anybody who looks like this. So another thing is that when you are a blue-collar worker, it's usually the opposite. It means that you don't work in an office, so you're anywhere but not in the office. It can be some construction, can be building houses, it can be repairing something at work, some technician or other person who fixes, a plumber, by the way. So anybody who has this manual aspect of work, so they do something with their hands, not in the office, yeah. And usually they actually wear this blue uniform, and obviously they have blue collars there. If you're a pink collar worker, ideally you deal with beauty, you deal with some minor procedures like cosmetologist, dental assistant, flight attendant, florist, and other services that are more or less creative, and you directly work with people like waiters, hostesses, and so on. Yeah, so this is pink collar. Green collar workers sometimes can be like military people, like those who serve in the army, or they have some other let's say government work, but not like politicians or something, so they're just military forces. However, the second meaning is a person who is involved in some environmental working. So those can be engineers, those can be educators or farmers, and all the people who deal with this environmental aspect of our life. So again, this is not the full list, but those are most common ones. If you're interested, you can actually Google this one, like jobs by color or something, or color jobs. In Wikipedia, they definitely have it, and you will see many more examples. So that would be interesting, I think, to look for. However, we will stick to this four, and we will start finally our idioms. So there are a lot of words to say when you actually let somebody go, when you say a worker or an employee that their services is no more needed. You can axe someone, and axe is this tool that we use to build houses and to cut trees, and also to axe someone is pretty innocent. It's not something aggressive or anything. The synonyms can be to fire someone, lay off, or dismiss, or in other words, let go. Nowadays we just avoid saying lay off or dismiss or something, so people usually cover it with like we want to let you go. It's not like we're firing you. We want to let you go. Rob was axed because he was found using social networks during working hours. So that's a serious reason to axe someone or to fire someone or lay off or dismiss. So you have one idiom and a lot of other synonyms that can be useful. So if you are axed, probably you will have to go back and to get back to the drawing board or back to square one. Both of these explain this fact when you have to restart something, you have to do it from scratch, like from zero. Let's say that you've been working for this company for years, you got axed, and now you have to start all over again. So I got to go back to the drawing board, my paper was not approved. So paper, again, it can be like a project, and if people don't accept it, it means that you have to start again. This is annoying, but anyway, at this point or that, we are back to drawing board. Drawing board is something where we actually create these plans, you know, this is why you get back to it, so you get back to this planning mode, and you have to start all over again. Yeah, so back to the drawing board or back to square one. Square one is basically something we have in games, in table games, because square one is where we begin. So if it is easier for you to remember, just please use this translation. Yeah, please use this alternative, and it will be good to use anywhere, not only in business. Okay, bumped up. To bump is actually to stalk into something, yeah, just to hit something. But this has a positive meaning is when you receive a pay rise or you get promoted, you get a higher position in your company. I got bumped up to vice president. So actually you got this promotion, yeah, you have a higher post, a better title in your company, or I got bumped up, so now I can afford to buy a nice car for myself because I earn more, I had pay rise. So again, it can be like, usually I would say that it's like I got bumped up. It's not like let's bump up Jake. We don't really say that. It's more about like I got bumped. They bumped me up or something. Okay, so that's also a positive thing. That's a good thing to know, I think. To carve out a niche, and that's a really positive thing, and I really hope that many of you have had this experience, because it is when you find a comfortable workplace and when you love this company, you feel comfortable in your position. If you say I have carved out a niche for myself in this project, it means that you feel really comfortable with that, and you just feel good. So this is something I think many people want to achieve. To carve is actually to cut it. And please remember this one, we usually carve wood. So if you want to have wooden sculpture or beautiful chair, wooden chair, you have to carve it or have to cut it. So this is what we actually do, yeah? We kind of cut this niche and we get it in. So yeah, that's something that I wish all of you to experience. Another one, before I think carving out this niche, we have to climb the corporate ladder. And this is a calc, I think, from many languages, because we have it everywhere. It can be translated directly because climb is going up, usually up the mountain or a tree. And corporate ladder is actually what you see here. So you are advancing in your career, you get a higher post one after another, and you achieve your successful goal or some desired lifestyle. So Mary decided to climb the corporate ladder and became, we can actually say become or became the CEO of the company eventually. So it means that she is really successful. Everything is going great for her. Climb the corporate ladder. Okay, next one is cutthroat. This is an adjective, and I think from the translation you can see that this is something more aggressive, and business can be so sometimes. So whenever it is a competition, industry or market, we can call it cutthroat, given that it is fierce, intense, and people really compete with one another for a place under the sun. Real estate is a cutthroat industry, so that is for sure, right? So there are a lot of real estate companies and they want to get best clients, they want to give them best offers. It's very competitive. It is cutthroat. So pay attention to the spelling. It's not like cutting throat or which cuts throat. No, it's just cutthroat. Right? Okay, so if we're moving too fast and you have some questions, don't hesitate to ask me. I always look through the comments, and if you feel that you don't understand something, just don't hesitate to leave comments. As well, if you're watching us after, we'd be happy to explain you afterwards. Okay, so another one, it's kind of idiom and expression, it rhymes, and this is why it's easier to remember. Keep one's eyes on the prize. This is quite direct because if you know what the goal is, it's kind of easier to achieve it. So you stay focused on the end result. I know it's difficult going to class after work, but please keep your eyes on the prize. You're going to get your MBA soon. MBA is kind of a degree. So this is something I want to say to all of our students. Like, we really appreciate that you come to us after lessons, after your work, and just any routine that you have in life. So keep your eyes on the prize and you're gonna achieve your goal. That's for sure. In English especially. Good. So cut someone some slack. Actually, that's a fun thing to say, and this is something you can hear quite often. Because when you cut someone some slack, it means that you don't really judge someone as severely as you normally would, just like it is written here. So it means that if you have like high standards and you feel that this person is falling behind and not really meeting your criteria, but he's trying, you can say like, let's cut him some slack. So let's not be too hard on him. So he's trying, maybe he needs some more time. So Andrew is late all the time, but let's cut him some slack. His wife has just had a baby. So this is some factor that helps us to become more comprehensive, I think. Or there is another one saying, cut yourself some slack. You work so hard, you have to take a day off. So it's like, don't judge yourself too hard, like cut yourself some slack. Alright, so if you're familiar with this one, we actually have an app or like program called Slack, and this is a corporate tool like CRM system where like managers can control the employees. So this Slack thing comes from this expression. So if you know it, now you know what expression you can use with Slack. Okay, to raise the bar, another thing that you can use outside of office as well, because when you raise the bar, it means that you set a higher standard or expectation. Like you set the bar, normally you raise the bar, and it means that it becomes more, let's say, hard to achieve it. The iPhone raised the bar for all the other smartphone makers. Indeed, so their products used to be so good that other companies realized that they have to make it even better. So it raised the bar, it like raised the standards. Okay, so I hope that this example is fine and this is enough to continue because we have one more. Call the shots to make major decisions. Ultimately, it's the client's decision since they call the shots. So clients have to make the final decision because actually those are the people who make all the decisions, right? So who's calling shots in your company? Just think about it. Is it you? Is it your, let's say, manager or your CEO? So who calls the shots? You can use it outside of office as well. For example, in some families, this is mother who calls the shots. In other families, it's father. Maybe there are some other families where it happens differently, but to call the shots, just to make major, more and most important decisions. Okay, so we read the sentence. I think we can continue. And actually here I wanted to talk about collocations because, you know, we cannot just take one word and use it with any other verbs or any other adjectives. There are some collocations that always go together. And one thing that many people confuse is deadline. So deadline, you know what it is. We use that in other languages as well, which comes from English. And we can set a deadline. So we kind of decide when exactly you have to submit this project. Let's set deadlines for the project so that we hand it in on time. Yeah, to hand in, so literally to give it to your boss or some person who is responsible for that. So this is your part of work, then you finish it and you hand it in. But before, you have to set the deadlines. Yeah, so you have to understand when it should be ready. Okay, after you set deadlines, you're supposed to meet them. So it's not like complete deadline or achieve deadline, it is to meet it. Just the same as we meet people, for example, as we meet friends. If you meet the deadlines, we'll give you a pay rise. So it's kind of a bonus because to meet the deadline is the thing that we all try to achieve. If you don't meet it, then you miss it, and you can get fired for that. Some people do get fired for this kind of mistake. I got fired for missing deadlines, so I never had a chance to kind of hand in the project before the deadline, so this is why I missed it. Okay, and so if you feel that it is not enough, like you set a deadline of 2 weeks, but it's not enough for you, you can extend it. 1 week is not enough. Let's extend the deadline. Extend is like make it longer. You can extend actually anything. You can extend your hand. So it means that you put it forward, you make it longer. That is it. Good. Okay, so I think we're more or less done with the deadline. I hope now you see when and how you can use it. Another one is decision. So again, it takes some effort to remember what do we do with decision. Is it like we do a decision, we make it or take it? The good news is that we can either make it or take it. It will mean the same thing. We have a difficult decision to make. Not to do, but to make or to take, as you can see it here. You can come to a decision. So it's like you're finally arriving at this point when you have a decision or you have an idea. We came to a decision to lay off 10 employees. I hope you remember what it means to lay off. It's like to fire, dismiss, or to axe, right? So I hope you remember this one as well. To come to has another relative, and this is to arrive at. It sounds weird at first, I think, but when we arrive at a decision, we finally come to it. We realize what we have to do. They arrived at the decision to collaborate. They finally decided to do it. Another one, let's imagine that you already made a decision, but now you think that maybe it was wrong, so you have to reconsider it. Yeah, consider in general is to think about something. To reconsider, to think about something once again. And as an example, let's reconsider our decision. We might have made a mistake. So let's just think about it one more time. This is to reconsider. If you know other exceptions of the word decision, some other verbs that go well with this word, you're very welcome in our chat. That's interesting what you have to suggest. So leave your comments if you know other verbs that go well with decision. And I think we go to our third phenomenon of the business world is a meeting. So we regularly arrange meetings. It's like we organize them. Like right now, we arranged a meeting for Friday, right? So here we are. Let's arrange a meeting tomorrow. So let's just set the date and let's organize it. We can also say let's schedule or let's call a meeting for tomorrow. Like here, they called or scheduled an urgent meeting this morning. So they decided to have this meeting, so they suddenly called it or they scheduled it. Okay, so another thing, to attend or to join. So basically, again, this is the same thing. When you can finally come to this meeting, you can take part in it. And yeah, so you can say like, sorry, I cannot attend, I cannot join this meeting because I'm busy. Yeah, so write us if you watch us later, like why you couldn't attend today's meeting. This is okay, you can always watch the recording, but just let us know. Maybe it's not a good time, maybe this time on Friday is not very comfortable, so you couldn't join us today, you couldn't attend our meeting. Okay, so and again, if we arrange it but something goes wrong, we can always call off a meeting or we can cancel it. Yeah, so it's kind of you say, sorry, nothing's gonna happen. We have to call off the meeting. We have to call off or cancel the meeting because the main speaker is sick. So it's impossible to have to arrange this meeting. Okay, so I think that we're more or less done with these collocations. Just make sure that you use them correctly. And we can go to proverbs. Also, you can see some familiarities. You can see that something is really sounds or looks like in your language. Every man to his trade. You see the translation and you understand that you have to do something that you do the best, right? So this is the best way to do things. Another one, and I'm sure you have an alternative in your language, many hands make light work. So when you have a lot of people helping you around, of course, you make it better and you make it faster. As is the workman, so is the work. So if you're not working really well, you can say that this is why you have this kind of work. So you have the result, which is not that good, and actually this is your fault. Or when you're talking about other people, it can be just the same. So I just wonder if there are some other translation, because if there are some really savvy people, I'm sure you can find another translation for these proverbs. Maybe something even better than this. I'm sure we have some alternatives as well. So we have the second page with proverbs, and a bad workman blames with his tools. Attention that this is blame with his tools. Yeah, this is the way we say it. We cannot actually change this proverb. So if you're doing something bad, sometimes we tend to like blame others or blame some technology, or something. Yeah, just trying to explain why it is not that good. Trying to find this excuse. Okay. Number 2, a busy bee has no time for sorrow. So if you are busy, you don't have time to think about bad things or to think about something, it means that you have no time, for example, to rest and no time to think about bad things again. So I'm sure we have this option as well, right? So it's just encouragement for people to work. Just work, do your job, and a busy bee has no time for sorrow. You're gonna feel better. Okay, the third one and the last one in this section, business before pleasure, or work hard, play hard. So it means that we have to finish with the work first and then we can go and have some fun. Also, it means that you are gonna have to work before and you're gonna spend more time on it than on fun. So again, I think the translation is literal and it is the best, so there is no point, I think, finding something different. Okay, so these were proverbs, and they add something, some other sort of idiomatic expressions that you can also use in some situations. So for example, idioms, they just come as complements to sentences, and proverbs are just expressions to describe the whole situation, to give the result, like to sum up what we were talking about. There is one more thing that I want to talk about before we go to this one. I wanted to talk about practice and see how well you remember everything that we learned. We had a lot. I know you can anytime rewatch the live stream and to give your answers. However, I think I'm gonna spend some minutes to walk you through. After our business plan failed, we were back to the drawing and 3 options. So you can take your time. Unfortunately, there are no numbers. However, it's like 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, literally, if you write down the words, we will understand what you're talking about. And found a good job, and finally did something out in her dream company. So something a tough decision to cancel our business trip, right? So it was a difficult one. This achievement did something, the bar for the whole industry. So again, I won't show you the answers, I think. Let me just skip them, because after you watch it, after the live stream, you can take some more time, you can think and to review the presentation itself, and then you will be able to give these answers, right? So another one, you have the second page, and let it be your homework, okay? Let it be your homework indeed, because you need to practice more. And also, if you want some more practice with speaking, this is something I want to suggest you. Здесь я перейду уже с английского, потому что хочу рассказать о том, как же все, что мы выучили, действительно за 30 минут мы успели очень много, и бывает кажется, что слов слишком много, вроде как мы столько всего услышали, узнали, но когда же это применять? Если вы не посещаете какие-то полноценные курсы, я имею в виду уроки по часу-полтора, да, стандартного формата, как это обычно происходит в языковых и прочих школах, отличная возможность все это сделать только в сжатые сроки и за более короткое время, за один подход, скажем так, это наши small talk уроки. Мы их называем, конечно, уроками, но по сути это такая очень позитивная, очень приятная беседа с педагогом, с профессионалом. Вы будете разговаривать с теми же учителями, которые ведут у нас и полные уроки, однако это будет длиться всего 15 минут, и нет, этого немало. Вы увидите, насколько много вы успеваете пройти, если из этой практики, если из этого урока убрать грамматику, убрать вот эти вот поправления, и просто позволить вам говорить подряд 15 минут, вы поймете, что это на самом деле и не всегда так просто, потому что это действительно не так мало и не так много. В общем, когда вы только начинаете, кажется, что это очень долго, когда вы продолжаете, уроки пролетают просто на ура. И это происходит все онлайн, в Skype, Zoom или в WhatsApp. Вы можете выбирать любой удобный для вас формат. Буквально можно разговаривать из кафе, можно разговаривать по пути на работу. В общем, так, как вам удобно. Конечно, из любой точки мира, поскольку это онлайн, и ввиду того, что это индивидуальные занятия, вы тоже можете подбирать свой график самостоятельно. У нас работают педагоги в разное время, поэтому, если вам интересно, обязательно пишите или переходите по ссылке. Также будет эта презентация доступна под нашим видео, под нашей записью эфира, и вы сможете сами пройти, посмотреть, узнать, как проходят наши уроки, записаться, может быть, на пробный и на себе опробовать этот популярный формат. И если все-таки хочется какого-то более one second, у нас тут что-то перепуталось, если хочется более какого-то погружения на более долгое время в язык, и при этом не хочется сидеть по, например, там 4 месяца на курсах, мы можем предложить вам экспресс-курс. Он действительно экспресс, потому что за 1 месяц мы укладываем программу одного уровня. Это значит, что вы занимаетесь по 2-3 раза в неделю, 1,5, 2, это, конечно, по желанию часа, но за это время вы успеваете покрыть основные моменты одного уровня, вы можете повторить то, что вы уже прошли на завершенном уровне, вы можете сделать скачок вперед и сразу выбраться на следующий. Это может происходить индивидуально, в группе или самостоятельно на платформе. У нас есть готовые уроки, предзаписанные, спланированные и разобранные специально для вас, чтобы вы могли самостоятельно их проходить. Ну и также все материалы и наша авторская программа в дополнение к этому, это все абсолютно бесплатно, уже включено в нашу специальную цену. Уточняйте у менеджеров, потому что эта акция была ограничена, и, возможно, вы успеете еще попасть по самой привлекательной цене. Ну что ж, есть еще одна точка нашей презентации, которую мы тоже обещали, один момент, это TV-шоу или какие-нибудь сериалы, да, мы их обычно называем TV-shows, конечно, это могут быть series, вот, но предлагаю называть их все-таки TV-shows. Как можно прокачать свой язык? Конечно, это можно делать самостоятельно, хотя мы практикуем и такую вещь, когда мы смотрим сериалы с преподавателями, да, на small talk, мы обычно задаем посмотреть какую-нибудь серию и потом ее обсуждаем со всей лексикой, со всеми какими-то особенностями, сленгом и так далее. И здесь подборка из 4 вариантов, которые обязательно вам понравятся. Выбирайте на свой вкус, обязательно смотрите и прокачивайте свой бизнес английский. Потом приходите к нам и показывайте, что вы выучили. Итак, все, что мы сегодня взяли, будет обязательно в презентации, которую мы будем вам давать по ссылке. И, конечно, все предложения по поводу новых эфиров приветствуются. Если вам что-то интересно, если есть какие-то комментарии, обязательно пишите. Мы попробуем сделать что-нибудь, чтобы было для вас также полезно, также интересно. Ну что ж, всем спасибо, кто присоединился. Будем прощаться, но ненадолго. Скоро увидимся с новыми презентациями, с новыми идиомами, с новыми лексическими, грамматическими единицами. В общем, все как вы любите. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope it was useful. I really hope you're gonna start using what you learned today, and I hope to see you soon. So thank you and goodbye.